Alright guys, back again this week. Today I'm here with my good friend Sam. Sam, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, Sam Refi, big movie buff and big time debater, so I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, and as you guys know, I'm a certified movie extraordinaire, and I have the ultimate credentials, being that I worked at Blockbuster, so I don't know how you can top that, but I bring a lot to the table.
I think at one point I was on the most wanted list for Blockbuster because of all the late fees. So I think it's gonna be like a good cop, bad cop, or a cops and robbers kind of game.
So do you think you can go toe to toe with the movie selections out there?
I'm super psyched for this. It's gonna be fun to see what kind of movies you come up with and how we talk about them.
So the two genres we're going to do this week are 90s action, and then we're going to do gangster movies, top 3 gangster movies. So I'm going to pick my top 3, and Sam is going to pick his top 3.
Perfect.
Do gangster movies first?
Yeah, we'll do gangster movies first, and then when it comes to action movies, obviously I'll give the host I'll let you just be deciding factor and make the first decision there.
Thank you, my man. So let's start. We'll start any order you want to. How about that?
This is gonna be in no particular order. These are, we obviously have, everyone has the classic gangster films on all their top 10, top 3 movie list. I want to go not too different, but I wanted to make sure I added something different into the mix. So I think I'm gonna start this one off with Shot Caller. Shot Caller is a 2017 film. Really was very surprising to me. It was a Netflix, I think it was a Netflix release movie, and I went into it not really expecting too much, and I was very impressed with the movie and what it was. It starts off with the protagonist getting into a car accident. Normal guy, everyday blue collar guy, gets into a car accident, had a couple of drinks, and it really shows his escalation from there. Did you get a chance to see it?
Yeah, I watched it. Let me ask you a question about
Sure.
it. The main character.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the movie could have been a little bit better if it was a different main character?
The main actor's name, it's Nicola Coster. Nicola Coster. I think he did a really good job, and he was very vulnerable.
Is he the same guy who played Harvey Two-Face in Dark Knight?
No, that's Aaron Eckhart. That is wow. We're gonna cut that part out. No, yeah, he does. They do look alike. No, he was in. I believe he was in Lost.
Okay.
And he had a short part in Ghost Protocol as well.
That's it?
From what I remember from his movies, I'm sure he's done other stuff. It's not coming to my head right now, but this one to me really stands out. I really like this movie because it was like I could put myself in that position. Like, man, if I went to prison, I can see this happening. I would have to do this in order to survive, and that's what I liked about it.
You know what? This movie gave me a Shawshank Redemption feel.
You put me in a tough place to compare this movie to Shawshank Redemption. Obviously, Shawshank is such an amazing movie. It's one of my favorites, but I didn't get a Shawshank Redemption feel out of this.
Not even when he went to jail and he seen the dude,
His first night when he goes in there. That was a really tough scene to watch.
Yeah. In both films.
In both films. This one was a little bit more. This one felt a little bit more real. Like, it's just like, they just kind of pounced on him and they just had it. And Shawshank Redemption was based in what, the 30s or 40s or 50s or something, and this one was based in, this one is pretty much modern day, right? So we saw that it felt more real to me because it's like, yeah, that's what it would be like, right? They'd find that weakness and they just jump on it, and it was a tough scene to watch, for sure. I didn't get a Shawshank Redemption feel out of this.
So I'll go ahead and say, like,
please.
With this movie, I was a fan of it. I never heard of it before, actually. So kudos to you for bringing it up. It actually was a pretty good movie. I love the fact that it showed his, the life before he went to jail, and it showed how your life could change that quickly. And I like the little twist it had at the end there too, because I was wondering why he was doing the things he was doing, because he was so smart, but he started to do like stuff that didn't really make sense. But I'm glad that it it showed that. Um, I like the movie. You know, I like the movie, and I like that it didn't have like a happy ending.
Yeah, and I definitely don't want to spoil this for anybody.
I
It's
just spoiled it a
definitely
little bit. Sorry.
it's not that it's a spoiler. You know, it not having a happy ending can mean a million things, but
You know, let's talk about spoilers for a little bit.
sure.
I'm okay if we spoil these movies because
Okay.
these are good movies. If you haven't seen them, that's on you.
Yeah, just put a
I'm joking.
put a spoiler alert maybe right away before the beginning. But yeah, I like that. No, it was what I would imagine would be like. It was the realistic movie that I can think of. I'd be like, yeah, if I was put in a situation like that, you know, what would you do? How far would you go to protect the ones you love, right? Ultimately, we're in a society where it's like we protect those that we love, no matter what, them before us. You know, as a parent, you can relate to this more than anybody, right? So. That's what I appreciated about the movie. I could be like, yes, if I was stuck in a position like that, I would gladly do what he did for his family to make sure that they were safe. Yes, I agree. I really enjoyed this movie. This was a movie that really caught me off guard. I was very impressed with it.
And I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do to go against that movie. So Shot Caller. I think I'm gonna do Training Day.
Oh, good one.
Now, we were talking about Training Day a little earlier, and you mentioned Gangster Movie. You said Gangster Movie Training Day?
Yeah.
I think Training Day is like one of the ultimate gangster movies. It's like, you know, about a crooked cop. And
Right.
there are a lot of crooked cops, and they're like a gang, a police gang. And this movie was a huge movie then, it's a huge movie now because it's the first movie, you know, that Denzel played a quote unquote a villain.
Right.
Because Denzel's always been like the hero in movies. This is the first villain, he killed the role.
Right.
And there's so many quotables in it. And him and Ethan Hawke, like dynamic duo on the screen.
I agree with you and I disagree with you. I agree with you as in, yeah, this was a great movie. It felt more like a cop movie than it did like a gangster movie to me. But I can understand yes, he did. He was, ultimately, he was a gangster. He played by his own rules, and you saw that throughout the film.
This movie is a complete gangster. You got the gangster police.
You do
and then you have the gangsters, actually gangsters.
Yeah, you got, you know, and they did a really good job with kind of portraying cops in a different sort of image, you know, especially because in the front face he was like this hero cop, this amazing guy, and then behind the scenes he was also, you know, this crooked cop. The reason why this movie left a bad taste in my mouth is because Denzel won the Oscar for this movie. Denzel's done amazing roles throughout his whole career, you know, going back to Glory and going back even farther than that. You know, he was the lawyer in the movie Philadelphia, where he just killed that role. I was disappointed to see that it's like it took him to play that evil cop, you know, that he needed to win that Oscar for that. I just didn't. I don't know how I felt
I'm
about
a little
that.
bit different. I don't think I don't think you should put a bad stamp on this movie because of that. Because there have been several actors who won Oscars, Leonardo being one of them, for movies that you wouldn't think so. So we really it can't take away from the movie.
Yes.
And the movie itself, like, what did you get from the movie?
Entertainment. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, Training Day is definitely a movie that I can watch over and over and over again and just really be fully content with it. It was a great movie. I have nothing against the movie. There was these little kind of pop-up characters that I wasn't a big fan of. But all in all, I thought it was a well-done movie. I tip my hat off to Tom Basinger's little cameo in that movie. I thought that was really cool. And I really liked Ethan Hawke's character development. It goes back to a conversation that I was having, is that he was this straight A cop from what we thought, but he was willing to bend the rules to get to what he needs to. And I really appreciated that kind of character development with Ethan Hawke.
Let me ask you a question,
Sure.
yes or no question. When you watched Training Day for the first time, did you kind of have a feel like you were in a movie? From Ethan Hawke's shoes.
Expand on your question for me. Elaborate on that question.
Some movies they're so good that you feel like grabbed the emotions of the character, Ethan Hawke's character, right?
Yes,
Did you feel a little bit after Training Day?
I did. Yes, and if I can expand
Like
on
the
it,
smoking scene where he made them smoke that in the car, right?
yeah, because this was realistic. I mean, this was his superior, right? This is the person that he's reporting to. So his leader comes up to him and is like, "I want you to smoke this." And what's crazy is that Denzel almost kind of validating why he's telling him to do it was such a great scene in itself. Not and you don't even find out till later on in the movie that he was really doing it for his own reasons,
Yeah.
right? It wasn't because he was trying to teach him a lesson, but it's the little lessons that you learned. I thought was such a great scene. You know,
So it sounds like you like this movie more than Shot Caller.
I love you. Yeah, you know what? I can't even. I'm not even gonna argue that one with you. Shot Caller is a wicked, great movie, but I wouldn't even. You wouldn't even be able to compare the two. I mean, yeah, you're right. Even, and there's a reason why Denzel won the Oscar for this. You know, it's a very un-Denzel character. Like I don't remember any other character that he had that was similar to what he played when he played that detective. You know, so no, I agree with you. Yeah. Definitely Training Day would take the would take the cake on that one. Training Day was a phenomenal movie all in all. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It would be better than Shot Caller, yes.
All right. So we'll let the audience be a judge of that, because who knows? Maybe some people see Shot Caller and think that that's better.
Yeah, and it's also relating to the times too, right? When Shot Caller came out, how old were you, my friend? Well, sorry, when Training Day came out, how old were you?
I was young.
I was young too. At the time, that music that I was listening to also influenced a lot of what I was watching at the time, right? You know, you go back talking gangster films. One of the gangster films no one talks about is Belly with DMX and Nas. A lot of people saw that and were just like, nah, I don't know how I feel
that's
about that.
pretty big.
I thought it was a really great
it's
movie.
pretty big, yeah.
But a lot of people were
Realistic
just not
too.
about it. I
Yeah.
thought it was very realistic.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. Round 2 of the gangster movies.
are you picking or what?
You pick.
So next film we're gonna do, one of my all-time favorites. It's 1993, Carlito's Way. Awesome movie. It stars Al Pacino as Carlito Brigante. You know, Puerto Rican immigrant, kind of came up in the streets and takes place in Brooklyn and Harlem and all those nice areas in New York at those times during the drug trade. Based off a book, and this is actually the second book that they made this movie off of. So the first book was remade, and it was The Rise to Power. The second movie they put out with I think it was Aaron Hernandez that played in it.
Aaron from the Patriots.
No. It's too soon, man. It's too soon. I think it's Aaron Hernandez. Yeah, it's Aaron Hernandez is the guy's name, the actor's name. It's him, and Sean Combs played a part in it, and somebody else came back for it. This is one of my all-time favorites. A lot of great one-liners, great story that's told. That you know, you come as a kid with nothing, you rise to have everything, to ultimately, with like any of these movies, kind of taken away from you, right? Very ironically how it gets taken away. Love to hear your thoughts about it.
Carlito's Way was good. There's a lot of Al Pacino movies that are good, but I'm thinking gangster movies and stuff like that. There's a couple other that rank above that one, and the one that I'm gonna go with is Heat. So Heat.
I disagree with that.
So in Heat, you got Al Pacino,
Yeah.
Robert De Niro,
Val Kilmer,
Jon Voight.
Danny Trio.
I mean that itself kind of puts it over.
Let me tell you why I disagree with that being a gangster film, and I want to be clear about this. Would I ever put Heat as a gangster genre? No. I would put Heat as a heist movie. I would put Heat as that noir movie, a revenge movie. I don't put it as a gangster movie. When you watch Heat, Tom Sizemore, who did a friggin' amazing job in that movie. When I watched that movie, at no point am I like, oh, this is a gangster movie. These guys are gangsters in this way. Nah, they were controlled, they were calculated, they lived by the rules. You saw Robert De Niro kind of play a character like that again in the movie Ronin. So I had a hard time. Like, I wouldn't put Heat in this genre personally.
What do gangsters do though?
I mean, and again, if I'm thinking in my genre of gangster movies, we're talking organized crime. We're talking
Organized crime, right?
organized crime. Yeah.
In this movie, one of the biggest things about a bank robbery, a series of them, right?
Before it becomes a series of bank robbery movies, like, to me, it's more of here's a tight crew. They're bringing somebody into this tight crew. Something happens. Now they're trying to get revenge for this, right? Then you get introduced to the whole concept of Al Pacino. So listen, let me be completely honest with you. Heat, one of my favorite movies of all time. That scene in the diner with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro when they're sitting there talking, it was years after I even watched that movie until I heard that they weren't even in the same scene together. They weren't even in that same shot. That was insane to me. If you're talking acting skills, yeah, you're 100% right. He takes the cake. But I don't put it in the genre of a gangster film. I have a hard time with that.
Okay.
So if we're talking gangster films and we're going to compare Carlito's Way to Heat, I'm going to say Carlito's Way is to me the better gangster film.
Okay.
You have the one-liners, the relationship he has with Penelope Ann Cruz in that movie is just amazing. Like, it's just everything. And Sean Penn as that grimy lawyer who's just like, I just thought that was so good in so many ways. But please change my mind. I'd love to hear from you.
Well, you said a tight-knit crew, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the crew forms a gang.
Right.
So they were robbing banks.
Right.
Like gangs do.
Right.
Back in the old days.
Because if you're talking about a tight-knit group that are just happen to go commit crimes, then realistically,
right.
anything could be.
Okay. So you're saying Carlito's Way just because you don't classify Heat as a gangster movie, but Heat is a better movie.
Heat overall is an amazing movie.
Perfect. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna leave it to the audience. Let you guys decide Carlito's Way or Heat. Next, last movie of the gangster genre. Before you pick, this is the last movie of this genre. This could be the swing player.
This could be the swing player. To me, one of the greatest movies of all time, especially when we're talking about gangster films, is Casino, a Martin Scorsese film. We have. Let's get our checkbox out, right? We got Sharon Stone, check. We got Robert De Niro, check. Joe Pesci, we got check. The list goes on. You have all these little supporting James Woods in that movie. We had a heist in this movie. We had the whole mafioso aspect of it, the violence, the brutality, the soundtrack in this movie was amazing. All in all, this was one of the first 3-4 hour movies that I just absolutely sit there and just watch over and over again because I just loved it.
Was there a prequel to it?
To Casino? No.
Sequel?
No.
With that being said, how do you feel about that?
I thought that it was wrapped up in a beautiful package with a bow tie on it. Why would it need a sequel? I feel like we live in a society now where sequels are everything and prequels and everything and remakes are everything.
So that's just good. You're satisfied with it.
I'm 100. That movie to me couldn't have been any better.
See, honestly, for me, for that movie, it was really good. I'm like, man, that's all we're gonna get out of this one.
Yeah.
So it's a good movie, but my pick for top gangster movie is Godfather 2.
Right.
That's why I asked, is there a prequel and a sequel?
That's fair, but was the sequel to Godfather 2 any better than?
You mean the third part?
The third part. You're saying the sequel. Would you say that the Godfather Part 3 was better than Casino?
Oh, look at when you look at Star Wars, you look at Lord of the Rings, you look at the whole collection.
Right.
There's a collection there.
Right.
And there's something to be said about it being a collection.
Right.
Godfather is a collection.
Right.
And obviously, since it's so long, if you put all of them together, what is it, like 8 hours of film?
I think so. No more than that, because then the first one's 3, second one's 3, and the third one's like 3, so that's 9 hours. 10 hours.
9 hours of film, 10 hours. So, that's a lot of film versus one Casino.
That's quantity over quality. If you want to talk, if we
want to talk quality, I'm taking 1 and 2 over Casino all day, every day.
You're telling me that you can sit and watch Godfather beginning to end without fast forwarding through any parts of it?
Oh man, when I'm watching Godfather, I put on my suit, I drink my wine.
You love the lifestyle.
I get some Italian food. I'm there, and I even dim the room a little bit, so it's a little darker. You gotta have you you gotta drink some scotch or some whiskey or something, you know.
Absolutely.
You just gotta sit there and you gotta button your top. You know, you gotta take your tie off, white shirt on, button it down to about here.
Right, chest hairs out.
Yeah.
Gold chain.
Maybe even a cigar.
Maybe a cigar.
I just don't get that feeling for casino, you know.
You know what? You're right. I get the feeling in casino that it's like, man, I'm a badass. I'm a guy that can wear a suit, walk into a place, someone disrespects me, I can pick up a pen and stab him in the neck with it. That's what makes me why I gravitate towards casino is you have both sides of that mentality. You have Robert De Niro's side, which is calm, collected. He's cool. He's manipulative. He's always kind of scheming. He's always putting the pieces in the right place. But then you have Joe Pesci's character, right? All of a sudden, Joe Pesci comes out of nowhere, and he's the brash. I'm gonna rush into it. I'm gonna beat you up. I'm gonna hit you, and I'm gonna get what I want to get out of you, no matter what. I had a really good time with that kind of character being so opposite from each other. I like that aspect of it, where Godfather was again a great movie. I'm not taking anything away from it at all. Godfather 1 was great. Godfather 2 to me was even better. But we're not talking about Godfather 1 and we're not talking about Godfather 3. We're talking about Godfather 2 as a movie as a whole. And I can't say that I enjoy Godfather 2 more than I enjoy Casino. To me, Casino takes the cake.
Godfather 2, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Robert Duvall.
Yep.
I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah, Robert.
Copa. The thing about Godfather 2 is told the story, Michael's story, and it's told his dad's story too, man. And it's such a beautiful movie. And then you have so many dynamic scenes. Her telling him that she aborted his son. Him killing his own brother.
Right.
Well,
he didn't kill his brother. He ordered the hit on his brother, and I get that. If you're talking about multiple storylines coming together, then unfortunately
he killed his brother. He ordered somebody to kill. That's killing
fair
his
enough.
brother.
Yeah, you know what? I'll give you that. Yeah, that's fair enough. I'll give that to you. But
he didn't have to kill him with his bare hands. He's the Don.
And that's fine, and I get that part. But if you're talking about story arches coming together, again, I'm gonna refute you and say that Casino had a way better story arc. You had Robert De Niro's storyline of him being, a loan shark and a gambler, making money that way, being moved up and put into a casino. Him then trying to get his casino license. Him trying to go legal. Him battles with FBI. Him battles with Sharon Stone. Then you had Nicky, which was Joe Pesci's character, right? Him being that rough guy, him getting kicked out of the casinos, him being kicked out of the mob, him starting his own business. Then you had Sharon Stone's character arc. If you're talking about stories, again, I highly encourage you to go back, rewatch Casino, and really look for those storylines. It's so good.
I'm going to disagree here because Godfather 2, Godfather 1, Michael's like kid.
We're not talking about Godfather 1.
I'm going to explain because it's going to lead to Godfather 2. Michael's the kid, everyone loves him. In Godfather 2, he starts wiping out people. He really turns into a villain. He signs his soul to the devil by killing his own brother, man. Oh, excuse me. By having his own brother killed.
Thanks for fixing
that. And it really, it really shows you how great he can go from somebody you look up to man, this guy is a dark dude.
So when you're saying that with a almost like a envious kind of like he killed his own brother and he became this good guy and this bad guy.
Let me ask you a question, yes or no?
Sure.
Yes or no question. You have a visual picture of his brother being killed in your head. Do you remember that scene?
I remember him being on a boat.
Thank you. That's it.
Yeah.
That's how powerful the scene was. It wasn't like a full in-your-face scene. You didn't see any of the details. You just seen a nice boat, nice, cool. It's like a picture in your head. That's how dynamic that scene was.
Right, but if that's one scene in a movie.
One of many scenes.
Fair enough. And again, I'm not disagreeing that the movie wasn't a great movie. I'm disagreeing by saying that it was a better movie than Casino. I have a hard time because, again, Casino to me was modern. It had a little bit better, even though it was taking place in the early, I think it was the 70s or 80s that it was taking place in. I still found it to be a better movie. Overall, the story arcs were way better in my opinion. Just Joe Pesci's character being Nicky and being the way he was amazing.
Perfect. It was perfect for him.
Was just it was perfect for him. I thought if we're talking sheer entertainment value and sheer storytelling, and if we're talking about gangsters, these guys were bad guys right from the beginning. There was no, hey, he might be a good guy or he might be a bad guy. These guys were bad guys.
Can I add to that point?
Please.
So you're talking about gangsters. Let's talk about Godfather 2.
Sure.
Michael's dad.
Michael's
It
dad.
showed you how it started.
Absolutely.
Violence. Wrapping the towel around the gun, using it like a silencer. Come on, man. That's the original gangster.
Amazing. And yeah, it definitely, it's
This is the dad of gangster movie. This is it. This is number one.
I can't.
Casino's in a different level.
I can't justify that.
Casino's like 80s era gangsters, like, you know, with all that stuff, the disco and the drugs and stuff. This is old school, original gangster.
Is that gangster or is that mafioso?
Like, I'm talking about the guns. I'm talking about the guns where you gotta like
muskets?
The muskets.
They definitely don't have muskets in that movie, my man.
You like that one?
You wait, man. Oh man, I'm gonna kill you for sure.
No more gangster than that now.
I disagree with you because I felt that Casino was, to me, the way better choice. There was the violence, there's the storytelling, there's that relationship building, there's that him kind of overcoming things. I have a hard time sitting here and telling you that I can sit down and watch Godfather 2 4 or 5 times in a row and never get sick of it, but I can definitely sit down and watch Casino a whole handful of times in a row and I'd be like, yeah, this movie's great.
Buddy, Godfather 2 is a staple.
Godfather 2, but again, I feel like you're giving it that crown. We all know Godfather is a great movie, especially in the gangster genre. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that you just can't compare an older movie like that to Casino. I felt like Casino was just awesome. Everything from the soundtrack to the lighting to the way it was shot to the violent scenes and the
Casino's a good movie to watch, and but when you look at all inclusively, Godfather 2 is one of the best movies of all time.
I have a hard time agreeing with you on that one. I don't think it's one of the greatest movies of all time. I think when you put it in with Godfather 1, I think it was and a lot of people disagree with me. It was that director's part 1, part 2. You know when you get like the end game part 1, end game part 2? It was a part 1, part 2 of a movie. Like that's what it was to me. I didn't feel like it was. I think Godfather 1 was an amazing movie. I still don't think that was the greatest gangster movie of all time. In my eyes, was always going to be Scarface with Al Pacino oh my God, I forgot her name. Michelle Pfeiffer. That to me was one of the greatest gangster movies of all time. You know, that to me is hands on. I can watch that movie all the time.
Okay, so Godfather's after that. I'll take the number 2. Casino's number 7. Okay,
what do you mean Casino's number 7?
Let us know what you guys...
No, hold on. I'd like to know what that means. What do you mean Casino's number 7?
Casino's a good movie, man.
Right.
But it's definitely not the best.
So then I think we're going to have to agree to disagree in that sense. And I think that if you were to ask... And to me, a movie has to be one that can kind of withstand the times.
Oh, Godfather 2 is definitely that.
100%, but also more and more people now, more and more this younger generation maybe don't know what Godfather 1 or Godfather 2 is.
Who knows?
Well, who does know?
Okay.
Maybe a guy who's got a brother in that age group, right? So.
You guys let us know.
Just comments below. Is that what you do?
Yeah. Let us know. Godfather 2 or Casino. Thank you.
I'm not overly worried about it.
All right, guys. This is gonna wrap up this session. We did gangster movies. So next time we do this, we gotta pick 2 other genres. And
your choice this time.
Yeah, my choice.
Gentleman's choice this time. Yeah.
So, all right. See you guys later. Thanks for joining us this week, Sam. Appreciate it, man.
My friend. I appreciate it.